I'm Dr. Kazmi. Today we are discussing a very important topic, and there should be a long ago there should have been we should have taken some action against the metabolic syndrome. And today we will discuss what it is and how we can prevent it, how we can go ahead. So metabolic syndrome, and it is also called syndrome X, and it is a group of diseases, a group of risk factors clustered together. And when in a man, in a human being, one or two or more than two risk factors or more than two diseases of this group are present, we call it metabolic syndrome. Syndrome means more than one problems. So two or more diseases, two or more risk factors, we then say that this is a patient of metabolic syndrome. It is mainly called metabolic syndrome, and sometimes shortly said medicine, and also said syndrome X. There are so many causes, and the most important causes of metabolic syndrome, and the group of cluster of problems which it holds is mainly the change in the lifestyle in the modern era, and the second, the change in the diet. So many different factors and different risk factors for including metabolic syndrome: diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, obesity are the main four problems included in this group. And there are some contributing factors. Like uric acid, like homocysteine levels. These all are contributing. And now the fatty liver, and we were talking about fatty liver also. Fatty liver and insulin resistance are linked to metabolic syndrome, and we will discuss later how these are linked to metabolic syndrome. And with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, the insulin levels in the body are more as compared to the normal man. So there is the problem of that insulin is not being utilized by the muscle, by the body properly. This is the problem of type 2 diabetes. Otherwise, insulin levels are normal or more. This is a very important question. Epigenetics means the genes cause disease and environment cause the disease. So the genetical part nowadays, through research, through so many papers, is about 30 or less, and more than 70% of the disease burden is due to the environment. And the environment acts on the genes, or luckily it is outside the DNA. It is heritable to a little extent, not to a more extent, but there are some processes going on, the RNAs, the methylation, and other things, other chemical processes which are going in the body. And what is the environment? Environment is change in the diet as compared to our previous ages, change of lifestyle. We are very sedentary people, we are not moving, we are not walking. And the third problem is the pollutions. The air pollution is coming up in, the sound and electronic is also coming out, the pollution, the telephones, the mobiles, the roadside halls, the roadsides, everything. So this is sound pollution, the air pollution, and your change in your diet, change in your lifestyle. So main factors, the soft drinks which we are taking, the like soft drinks, and I can call it the instant drinks, both have raised instantly body calorie levels of the body. The metabolic syndrome is itself a group of diseases, a cluster of factors. So the main problem, the main thing behind all the problem, the cause is almost the same. And the diet, your sedentary life, change of life, and we are away from the vegetable, we are away from the fruit, we are on the edge of junk food. So all these problems create obesity, all these problems create dyslipidemia, all these problems create hypertension, all these problems create diabetes. So we take excess salt in our diet also. So there are so many studies, we take a lot of salt in our diet. So there are so many studies. Salt is also responsible for rise in blood pressure, rise in that's called hypertension. Insulin resistance means that the body this is mainly in type 2 diabetes. It is mainly, I repeat, in type 2 diabetes. So the manufacturing of insulin is normal or more. The levels of the insulin in the body are normal or more, but it is not being utilized by the body. So where it has to act, there is some problem. At that problem, very micro level, that is not being utilized. So where you need 10 units to get that thing by a muscle, it takes about 20 units to do the same job. So the level insulin resistance means that insulin is there, but it is not being used properly and need more and more to be utilized. And it is the work which is done by the insulin is being resisted. It can be diagnosed through various means in labs. You cannot check it as such. This is again a very good question. And fatty liver term was basically came to the literature in the late 80s in the last century. Insulin resistance was established in 1930, 32, 33, and the fatty liver came into the medical literature. It was noticed in the early 80s of the last century. And till last decade, it was not given such an importance. But now, with most of the people, most of the patients with type 2 diabetes with insulin resistance are also having insulin resistance. So liver is not an organ for the storage of fats. So when it is being deposited there, so there is some problem going on. Then next stage is the fibrosis at the liver level, and last is your liver shrinks, that's called cirrhosis. So these all are coming up. So insulin in the fatty liver is, there is some again there are fat obesity, your type 2 diabetes, things have some link, have the link with insulin resistance, now they are establishing, there are so many studies coming up and have some link with fatty liver. The treatment protocol is that you have to treat the problems. If the diabetes, then to control the blood sugar levels. If hypertension, you have to control the blood pressure. When obesity, then you have to control the weight. You have to adopt some weight lowering measures. You walk, you diet, and this for dyslipidemias, there are so many drugs to control the lipid levels. There are statins, very famous now, PCSK9s. And some other anti-inflammatory drugs are coming, and there was a CANTOS trial. Let us change that the inflammation is also responsible for diabetes, for endothelial dysfunction, for hypertension, for myocardial infarction. So you have to control, you have to treat, you have to control the risk factors. The problem, the causing risk factors, you have to control. And the main thing again for all this is control on your diet, control on the change of your lifestyle. You have to walk daily, and the recommendation is about 130 to 140 minutes a week. Not 130 to 140 minutes a week, and you have to take about more than 1,000 steps a day to keep yourself fit. So it's important because the muscles release some factors, myokines, that acts on some hormones in the body, and they try to reverse all these problems which are responsible for the metabolic syndrome. So for the control of the disease problems, there are so many things to control the diabetes, including insulin and other oral agents to control the hypertension. There are so many drugs to control the hypertension, and for the control of lipids and dyslipidemia. We're talking about the exercise should be about 40 minutes a week, and the diet mostly should contain more and more and more vegetable and fruit. I repeat, more vegetables, more fresh vegetables, not cooked with oils. It should be simple, natural vegetable salad, plus the natural water and a lot of water. You should keep your hydration very good. After exercise, a good diet, good vegetable diet, a fruit diet. And here I would like to add that now there is a great fashion of juices going to juices. Juice is not an alternate of fresh apple, a fresh banana, a fresh orange. Metabolic syndrome, rather all the factors responsible for the metabolic syndrome are reversible. But if you check the international literature, that all over the world, all over the globe, no country can as yet claim that anything, the obesity, the diabetes, the dyslipidemia, they have controlled. Nobody. They have tried to some level, and they have progressed to longevity, long life. But here in our country, we are progressing on other side. Now we are at number 7 for the sugar and diabetes. By 2025, expected we should come at second position or the third position. Similar is hypertension. Every third or fourth subject, man or woman in this country is having hypertension as per the guidelines. And same dyslipidemia, same. Everything can be controlled through lifestyle, through diet, through medicine, but it is very difficult to control it. You have to do all these things for the lifelong. So for the young doctors, for the young practitioners, that for one day you have not to use the insulin, for 1 week you should not the high blood pressure drugs, or to control the lipid levels. So it is a very long process. You have to control it. You have to move with the patient. You have to move the patient. You have to move yourself with the patient, and it should be taken for a long time, and it should be watched. The patient should be enhanced. It should be taken that you are doing good, and the drug should be carried out. Keeping his pocket, how the type of drugs he can or she can afford. So it is a long process to control all these things. I repeat, through lifestyle mainly, through diet mainly. You have to use high vegetable, high fruit and high fiber diet, and if the problem is not controlled through all the 2 things, then you have to go for the drugs, for the medicines. All the risk factors, the list of the factors included in metabolic syndrome all lead to cardiovascular disease, all lead to coronary artery disease, and therefore the incidence of myocardial infarction and hypertension is increasing day by day. Now the last thing is how to control it and how to move it. The things start. The factors responsible for the metabolic syndrome start from the early life, rather from the fetal life. That's called fetal programming. Then with the childhood obesity, childhood problems, childhood diet, childhood lifestyle, childhood habits, it carries on and on and on. And then after the 40s, after 35, 40 years, then the things establish, and you have some high blood pressure, you have high sugar levels and dyslipidemias. And once it is, then as I said, we have to go for a change in the lifestyle, for the change in the diet, change in our medication. We can continue in medicine for a longer time to control all these things. And we have to clean the environment. We have to clean the air. We have to stop smoking, and all these risk factors, when we come together with smoking, everything doubles. So we have to control the smoking. We have to control the environment. We face genetics, but we can reverse the 75% caused by the environment. That's called epigenetics, the process of methylation, the process of RNA modification going in the body around the genes, around the DNA. That can be controlled. So this is a good news. We can control it, but we don't.